Audit finds this is from Dave Biscobing over at ABC. Audit finds extreme Phoenix PD overtime, and then the editorial part of this is lack of control. So that there's part of a headline that is there's extreme overtime, and then there's the editorial piece of it that says they have lack of control over the overtime. You get into this a little bit, and this is what's frustrating. The audit was released in late January, according to the story. Overtime costs have more than doubled in recent years. The Phoenix Police Department, out of necessity, when the recession happened in 08, 09, the city of Phoenix found itself in a really bad place, financially, like many other places in the country. And to the credit of the Phoenix Law Enforcement Association and the Firefighters Union, public safety unions in the city of Phoenix, and if you listen to this show, I'm not someone that is necessarily a champion for labor unions. But in this case, not just in this case, in these case of these two organizations, these are organizations that care about their membership, but they are also residents of the city, and they do what's right for the city. That this is not a one-sided. They do not feel one-sided. They from the membership and the leadership that I've talked to in these two unions, they feel a responsibility to the city of Phoenix citizens as much as they do to their members. And they do want to do what's right. And they did. They went to the table. And at the time, the mayor was Phil Gordon and the city council and the city manager's office. And they hashed out a deal that to guarantee that no firefighters and no police officers would be laid off, they agreed to a hiring freeze. But that also was not replacing officers, and I'm going strictly with police because this story is about police overtime. They didn't replace officers that were leaving through attrition, whether it was retirement, they found a job somewhere else, whatever. So while the city of Phoenix continued to grow by leaps and bounds, public safety was not hiring new people. There was a hiring freeze that went on way too long. And then in recent years, with the defund the police movement, it's harder to recruit people that want to be cops. So the Phoenix Police Department is dramatically understaffed. There are minimum standards for patrol. As a matter of fact, the previous police chief, Jerry Williams, did a reorganization of cops where they pulled cops out of specialty details, put them back in patrol because the number one responsibility of a police department is patrol. So they had to adjust to make sure they had enough cops on the road. We're talking about minimum standards, not desirable standards for safety, minimum standards. There is a standard called beats plus one. You have precincts here in the city. It's broken down by precinct, and each one of those precincts is broken down in beats. You're supposed to have enough cops to patrol that beat plus one that can help out at any other time. That is a minimum. The Phoenix Police Department struggles to meet the minimum standard. The Phoenix Police Department, and this is a credit to every man and woman on that department, that they are victims of their own success. Crime is down. We live in I would say more than relatively, we live in a safe city because of the excellent work of the police department. So as understaffed as they are, I still feel safe in my city. That's a credit to them. The overtime they're working isn't because anybody in the city of Phoenix is trying to steal from the citizens of Phoenix. They're working this kind of overtime to meet the minimum standards on the street for patrol. Why is that not the story? It's the story for me. It's the story I've been yelling about for 10 years with both fire and police. But because this is about police overtime, this is about having enough cops that when you dial 911, when you're having the worst day of your life, there is a cop available to assist you. That's what this is about. Minimum staffing standards. And if you don't have enough full-time employees to do that, you have to pay people overtime. And here's the downside to all of this overtime. How about this for an investigation? What does this do to the emotional well-being of an officer? You know, you realize that we have laws, pretty strict laws, for the number of hours a day that a truck driver can drive a semi, can drive an 18-wheeler. Because if they are too tired and their reaction times are diminished, they become a danger on the road. And before they become a danger, in extreme safety and precaution, we limit the number of hours that a truck driver can drive a truck. So why isn't it the story about how overworked our cops are? Why are we not having parades for these men and women that are having to work this kind of overtime, that are separated from their families for this amount of time? Why is that not the story? Why is a story being written that says the Phoenix Police Department and their officers are bilking? They're not bilking anyone. They are working their jobs. Well, what about the officers that are taking leave time and then they're working a shift, so they're basically getting paid double? They're earned that leave time and they're working because they're so short-staffed. They would have to pay them anyway. They'd pay somebody else. Creating a narrative of some kind of wrongdoing when you are trying to juggle as much as they're trying to juggle in the City of Phoenix Police Department with staffing issues, and they've got minimums they have to meet. You're talking about severe hits to public safety. We are understaffed at what we are what we're funded for. We're dramatically understaffed for the number of cops that we're supposed to have. And if you compare the number of cops that we are allowed in Phoenix by budget, it's still less than half of Philadelphia, and we're bigger in size and population than Philadelphia. Less than half. I love this conversation, and I would love to have it with anybody that wants to. We should be thanking them for working the hours they're working and be scared to death that they have to work them. We should be helping them get more cops on the street.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Catch up on Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast, and click the button in the middle to subscribe.